Good morning, everyone. I'm going to do something a little different, a little unusual in this video. I am going to apologize in advance. And I'll tell you why in a minute here and what about. But yeah, this is going to be a little unusual and a little longer because I've got a pretty long drive ahead of me. But yeah, I'm going to apologize in advance because just in case there is an inauguration, and just in case, we get a new president here on Monday the 20th, just in case that happens, I'm going to apologize in advance to you all for anybody who listened to me about that and believed as I do that won't happen. I'm going to tell you right now that I am sorry because I was wrong. If he does get into office and there is an inauguration, I was wrong. And I will tell you that I cannot vouch, nor will I vouch for anyone regarding their prophecies, beliefs, words of knowledge, visions, dreams, anything regarding that. I can't. I'm not a publicist for anybody. I don't, I'm not an advocate for anyone. But I would hope that if they wind up being wrong and people who have said, come out publicly, either on a live stream or video or a prophecy blog, website, or whatever, and they came out publicly writing something, saying something, speaking something, and saying that it is the word of the Lord, it did come from God, it did come from the Holy Spirit, and it turns out to be false, I would hope that they would repent and publicly apologize for that. But I have no control over that. Now, here's the interesting thing with what I just said. There's a site, a YouTube channel I came across the other day. I wasn't looking for anything except for the video that the interview that I put out with Ben Faircloth from years ago in March of 2018. I was looking for that. And so I typed in his name and then my name, and then this video came up. This channel, actually, not a video, a channel that was called Fear No Man Exposed. And then at the title it said, I think it said my name, maybe not. I think it said, maybe it didn't. It just said punt, but it had my picture, and it was my old channel. And then it said, this is funny, it said, pontificator of false prophets, wrong 99% of the time. I thought it was funny. I was like, wow, that's pretty good. I got to give them credit for that. That is funny. I have no idea who this person is that made this channel about me. I kind of had a clue. I had like about 3 different suspects, so to speak, but as I listened to some of the videos, I'm like, well, probably not that person unless they want to slam themselves. So it was just funny, because I'm the type of person, I try not to take things too seriously. I try not to. And, because you can get your feelings hurt. And if you're run by your emotions and your feelings, then it's really difficult to navigate through life, because people are always going to hurt your feelings. They're always going to offend you. They're always going to upset you. They're always going to let you down. They're always going to lie to you. They're always going to deceive you, manipulate you, whatever, because most people have their own personal agenda in life of what they want to accomplish or what they want to do. And some, specifically sociopaths, don't care who they hurt And when people stand in their way, they don't care. They don't care. And so they will make up channels like this. People will make up channels like this about me or other people. I thought it was kind of funny, though, because they played certain clips on the channel. Hardly any subscribers, because nobody cares. Most people don't know about me or care, so it's just funny to me. It's like, I can understand if I had like hundreds of thousands of subscribers or millions of subscribers on the old channel. Sure, I get it then, but I only had like 11,700 and something, and I mean, not taking anything away from that. I mean, that's still quite a bit of people, but it's not hundreds of thousands or millions of people, like some of these channels do. So I'm just like, wow, why am I on people's radar, man? Why do people, feel the need to do this? It's more intriguing to me than anything. And so, as I looked at this pontificator of false prophets, wrong 99% of the time, it's like, well, I don't know that I necessarily agree with the pontificator of false prophets thing, because like I said, I don't vouch for anyone. I'm not an advocate or a publicist for anyone. Nobody pays me to do anything under the table or anything like that to promote their channel or endorse them or anything of that nature. I share things that resonate with me personally, that I think are a possibility because I'm a very logical person. And because if I think that there's just a chance that what they're saying could be correct and that people need to be aware of it or might want to be aware of it, I will likely share it. To be honest with you, if it really resonates with me and I think there's a possibility that it could happen, I say, you know what? People might want to be ready for this. Like, if there is no inauguration, something happens prior to that time in these next few days, hours, whatever it is, people might want to be ready for that. They might want to be prepared for that. Because like I said yesterday and previously, the universal assumption is there will be. Everybody's planning on it. It's scheduled, Most people assume that it's going to happen and nothing will stop it and nothing will prevent it. But there are a few out there that say, maybe not. And if that's not the case, you might want to be ready for the aftermath of that. You might want to be ready for the side effects of that or what have you, And so, anyway, time will tell, I mean, there's a rally on Sunday the 19th, supposedly at Capital One Arena in D.C. and whatnot. And I don't know how often he's going to be hanging out at his tower in Manhattan. And, I don't know. I've heard a lot of things over the years, many, many, many things, a lot of prophecies, for lack of a better term, a lot of things written, a lot of things spoken, a lot of emails I've received, a lot of people's opinions and beliefs and speculations, and I still get quite a few of those, messages here and there. And so it's, you put it all together and you think, okay, well, this is possible, especially if you hear it more than once from several different types of people. It's like, all right. And then for yourself personally, for me personally, like I said, I don't think I'm a pontificator of false prophets, but, am I wrong 99% of the time? That's probably accurate. That's probably fair to say. But you know what? That's fair to say. It's interesting they didn't say 100%. You know why? Because that's not true. And anybody that truly knows me can attest to that. Because in that 1% where I just happen to be right, I wish people would have listened to me. They wish they would have listened to me for that 1%. I mean, to be completely honest with you, because the 1% of the time that people didn't, they regret it. I know they do, because they contacted me and told me. So if I'm wrong 99% of the time, it's that 1%, that people is like, man, I sure wish I would have listened to you for that 1%, because that 1% could actually matter. For instance, terrorists, when it comes to any type of, how do we say it, nefarious activity, we'll put it that way, okay? They only have to get through one time. They could have 99 fails, but it only takes one to do damage, to hurt people, to kill people, to make things horrible. It only takes one, So, yeah, they could be attempt after attempt after attempt, 99 attempts, but it only takes one, And where, law enforcement has to be right 100% of the time, because the one time that they miss could be that horrible event, right? Just throwing it out there, just a little food for thought. Said I'm a little punchy this morning. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night because I was up at just after midnight for I don't know what reason, and I fell back to sleep, and then it was around 4. I'm like, oh, come on, man, I need to sleep, man. But that wasn't in the works for me personally. So when I can't sleep, talk to the Lord. Pray, you talk to the Lord, you ponder, you pontificate. That's what I was doing, And so, oh man, this will be a long day. But, that's what I was doing. I was pondering on a lot of these different things. And then I came up with the idea, I'm going to catch people off guard, and I'm going to apologize in advance. And I'm going to say, hey, if I was wrong, I'm sorry. Okay? I really am. I didn't prophesy anything. I didn't say, thus saith the Lord. I didn't have a vision or a dream or a word of knowledge about anything. I was just going on what I believe. People call you all kinds of things, whether good or bad. I kind of consider myself an analyst. I think that's probably the best way to describe myself. I analyze things. I take a lot of different information, I put it together, and I look at what makes sense to me and what doesn't. What's logical and what isn't. What could happen and what probably won't happen. And I think there's a good possibility, if I'm saying this, in the future kind of thing, you're hearing this now for, what may or may not happen later. I think there's a good possibility that he doesn't get in. But if he does, that's why I'm doing this. I apologize in advance. I was wrong. But I will tell you this. I wouldn't let my guard down. I don't think it's going to change anything, one way or the other. I really don't. I mean, changing one puppet for another puppet doesn't change anything. It doesn't change biblical prophecy. It doesn't delay it. It doesn't postpone it. It doesn't do anything. It's all in God's will, according to his plan, whatever he wants, whoever he wants in that office or whatever, It's all according to what he wants. And that's how I constantly pray. I pray according to his will. I don't pray against things. I don't pray that things go away. I don't pray this. I pray that his will be done on earth as it is in heaven, the way Jesus taught us to pray. And I pray for his mercy through these judgments, through the things that happen. Not that they don't happen. And I don't pray them away, like, Calgon, take me away, or, so I don't do that, okay? I don't do that. I know a lot of people who do, and they think we all should pray that way, or we ought to pray that way, and that's fine, whatever. But that's me, I don't. I pray for his will to be done on earth as it is in heaven, and for his mercy through his judgments, through the things that he allows to happen or makes happen. That's how I pray. I'm just being honest about it, okay? So, anyway, back to this whole thing. All right. Pontificator of false prophets. This is the funny thing to me about that. All right. I do believe that there's a lot of false prophets out there, false teachers. I've said that many, many times. But here's the difference for me personally, okay? I believe that people that claim to be speaking for the Lord, this is just me personally, all right? But they are really doing it out of the right intent. And I know the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I get all that, okay? I understand that. But they're not looking for accolades. They're not looking for praise. They don't sell merchandise on their channels. You know, you go to the description pages of a lot of these people. It's cash app me here, PayPal me here, donate here. Merchandise. Are you kidding me? Merchandise? I'll get into that in a minute. But it always reminds me, every time I hear merch, I used to work a lot of security jobs, and a lot of times I'd work concerts and stuff like that. And there was always a merchandise table, where you buy t-shirts to commemorate the concert, or bumper stickers, or whatever else, whatever merchandise people want to, have to say, hey, I went to this show, or I went to this concert, or I went to this, or I went to that. That's what it always reminds me of. And I'm thinking, why are supposedly God's people, God's messengers, God's servants, prophets, for lack of a better term, why are they selling merchandise? Who wants a t-shirt? Who wants a t-shirt of some person's mug on it, or what? What the heck are you selling? Why are you selling, stuff on your channel? I don't get it. Who are you? It's like, my gosh, get a real job, but that's neither here nor there. Nobody's going to listen to that. So, but it just cracks me up, that they have merchandise, because what does the Bible say about merchandising? Especially when you're merchandising off of the pain and suffering of others. See, I'm reminded off of the tragedies that we've had and the issues that we've had, and people merchandise off of these, what I refer to as the false prophets, because they tell people what they want to hear, and then they sell them garbage, or they want them to donate to their channels so they can tell them more stuff that they want to hear. Or they tell them that, they make them feel like you can make a difference. I got this dream, I got this vision that this such and such is going to happen to such and such, but we can pray it away. If we all get together and pray it away, or pray that it doesn't happen, and it's like, okay, well, that sounds good on the surface. Then go to their description page and then look, donate here, Cash App here, PayPal here, Venmo here, whatever else. And then buy my merchandise, buy my t-shirts, buy my hats, buy my this, buy my hoodies, buy this, buy that. I'm thinking to myself, sounds like business to me, man. Sounds like you're in a big business. And so, those are the ones I consider the false prophets. Now, the people that do say, thus saith the Lord, and they don't sell anything on their channel, but thus saith the Lord, this is what the Lord says, this is the word of the Lord, and it comes around, and that is not true. People can say, well, they're a false prophet, they're a liar, this is that. Okay, that's fine. I think they should apologize. I think they should publicly repent. I think they should say, I messed up, I screwed up, I was wrong. I definitely believe that, that's between them and the Lord, but, people say, well, they're a false prophet or a liar or whatever else. Well, I don't know, because I don't know what the intent of their heart is. Like I said, because they're not selling anything. I guess you don't have to sell anything to try to make a name for yourself. I mean, everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame, I guess, Warhol wasn't wrong. Fame 15 minutes long, It's from, what is it? Revolution Calling from Queensryche lyric. Anyway, it's always been in my mind. But anyway, I digress. But he wasn't wrong. Everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame in one way or another. And on social media, everybody can get that, But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I don't pretend to judge the intents of the heart. However, when people are selling stuff, though, that makes me really wonder. And it's just like, especially when they're profiting off of the pain of others, profiting off of the suffering of others. That's merchandising to me. That's evil. That's wrong. And the Bible has some stuff to say about that. Can't recall where it is right now, but I know it does. Merchandising off of the pain and suffering of others, or merchandising to try to make a name for yourself. merchandising to give people a false hope. You know, the only thing worse than no hope is false hope. Because when people have no hope in their life or whatever, then they're like, well, okay. They kind of come to an acceptance that this is the way it is. I don't like it, but they accept it. You know, but they you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's sad, it's tragic, but at least it's kind of like they come to that point where they accept it to a certain extent. But false hope is just mean, man. That's just cruel, because false hope promises something that will never be delivered. And we've all dealt with that. Some people still do, you know, promises that are never delivered. That's false hope. False hope is just cruel. It's just mean, because it's like you leave somebody hanging on, you know, like a worm on a hook kind of thing, you know, and they just hope and hope and hope and hope that something happens in their life, or that something occurs or whatever to make their situation better, you know. And then they have people out there that are giving them false hope, saying, oh yeah, there's going to be a wealth transfer. That's what I notice about a lot of these people, you know. Wealth transfer. They all say the same thing. Wealth transfer. For whatever reason, they love talking about XRP. I don't even know what that is. I think it has something to do with digital currency, Bitcoin. I have no idea. I don't care. You know, all I know is they talk about XRP and wealth transfers, and of course, you know, everything always focuses on Trump, whether good, bad, or ugly. It always focuses on him. We got to pray for him about this, pray for him about that, pray that this doesn't happen, pray that that doesn't happen. You know, Trump, 24/7 Trump. Most of them should just call their channels, you know, the 24/7 Trump channel. You know, all Trump all the time. You know, I mean, but that's what they all have in common. It's always about Trump. It's never about salvation. It's never about God's people. It's never about, you know, helping the homeless, the needy, the widow, the orphan, you know, giving to ministries that are truly doing God's work, you know, whether they be, you know, in the U.S., out of the U.S. It's never about that. It's always about Trump. It's about a wealth transfer, and it's about XRP. And what else? Those are pretty much the three main things that I always notice that the people that I refer to as false prophets talk about. Like I said, the ones that have all the donation stuff on their description page, and all the, you know, merchandise, selling this, selling that, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, oh man, there's a lot of things to discuss here, because I'll tell you exactly why I believe what I believe, that he still won't get in. This is just what I believe. I'm not prophesying anything. I'm not prophesying. I'm not prophesying. I can't speak for others. Like I said, I can't vouch for others. I can't be an advocate or a publicist. I'm not an advocate or a publicist. I said I share what I share because I believe that the possibility is there that it could be true, and that people should maybe think about preparing for it. They can ignore it. They can ignore me. They can unsubscribe, not listen, whatever. Everybody has their own choice, you know, on what they listen to and who they listen to, and whatever. I mean, we also have the First Amendment, where we can speak our mind currently, and where we can, you know, have opinions, and we can share those opinions, and we can talk to people, and people have a choice whether they want to listen or not listen. So I'm going to tell you why I believe it, okay? Because of what happened to me over the summer. It was a very strange thing. This is what started it. Well, technically what really started it was the fiery kickoff event from years and years and years and years back. I believe it. I met the man that, met him, not just met him, had dinner with him, okay? You know, that put that out. And I talked to him about it extensively, and I've talked to him about it extensively since then. And we still communicate back and forth every once in a while. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand it, but he holds true to it. He believes it's going to happen. He doesn't know how. He doesn't know when. He doesn't know what the circumstances are behind it. He just believes it. And I believe that it makes a lot of sense. It is very logical, because there's historical precedence to aircraft carriers being attacked and sunk. There's historical precedence for terrorism attacks. There is historical precedence for presidents, world leaders, political leaders to go down, to be taken out, whatever it is, to be removed. There's historical precedent for all of it. So, because there's historical precedent for it, it's happened before, I believe it can happen again. That's how I analyze things. I'm logical in that way. So I believe it. So that was the first thing, from years back. But then this past summer, something kind of unusual happened to me. I was making a video, actually on this channel, because I had a strike on the other one. So I was making a video on Tom Sawyer, and the quality did not come out well because it was hot. It was in the summer. I had the air conditioning on, and so people could hear the air conditioning over what I was saying most of the time. But there was a transcript for it, I think, and also I had the captioning on. And it was around the time, and I still remember the name of it. I don't remember the name of most of my videos, but this one was called Two Choices, and in parentheses, it said Constitutional Crisis. And it's still up. And I didn't take it down. It's still up. You can look at it in the, go into the videos playlist on here. You'll find it if you want to. But it was called Two Choices, in parentheses, Constitutional Crisis. So when I was making that video, something very unusual happened, because what I was talking about was, it was at the time that it appeared that Biden might step down. They might invoke the 25th Amendment. There was a lot of talk about that. And we would get Harris pretty quick. That was what people were talking about. But that's not what happened, obviously. He stayed in office and just decided not to run again. And so that didn't happen. And they even, touted out Clooney and other clowns or whatever to try to convince him to step down, or, to bullying him into step down, intimidating him to step down. It's all staged and it's all performance, but that's what was going on at the time. And so I made a video at the time called, like I said, called Two Choices, Constitutional Crisis, where I talked about how I thought it was a possibility because there was historical precedent for it. And later I found out that, Millard Fillmore, people could look this up themselves or whatever, he actually came into office when Zachary Taylor died and whatnot. And people can research that themselves. And then that I just found that out the other day. But, and there had been television shows and movies or whatever, Air Force One, the show 24, where they talked about the 25th Amendment, removing the president because, of some type of mental capacity deficiency, or because they, how do I say it? In some way, shape, or form, they're unable to perform their duties as president, or they're taken out, or whatever it is, and the 25th Amendment is invoked. So, like I said, there's historical precedent for it. There, some television shows, movies have talked about it before, whatever. It is, constitutionally accurate, for whatever that matters now, So, I'm thinking to myself, well, this is a possibility. So I made a video about it, and I talked about how Harris could actually come back in. And I thought it was going to happen. And I thought it was going to happen over the summer, though. I really did. And then I thought that would open the door for other things, because nobody's going to accept a Harris. She's in way, way over her head. If something massive, horribly massive happens to this nation, she's just not the person that we're going to want in charge. She's just not. I mean, and I think that people will not accept it on either side, because at first they'll be like, yeah, we got our woman president, and we got our woman of color president, and blah, 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 blah. But when things really hit the fan, though, they're going to realize she's way, way over her head, and she's not going to be able to do the job. And they're going to clamor. They're going to want somebody else. And if it's not Trump for whatever reason, then who is it going to be? I mean, think about it out there. Out of all the politicians, out of all the people in office, out of anybody that would step up to the plate or whatever, who would it be? I'll leave that open to you to decide, but I have my opinion on that, okay? And I thought it might open the door for something else if Harris were to come back in. And so I talked about that. And I said, well, here's the thing. In a constitutional crisis, there is an alphabet agency that actually is in charge. And they can instill whoever they want into power. They're the ones that do it. Because the Constitution is kind of like irrelevant at that point. We're in a crisis. All right, this is a national emergency crisis. So people can be instilled. You don't have to follow the whole procedure, this selection process procedure of certifying the election and the inauguration and all the rest of this stuff. You know, it's an emergency. People can get instilled, you know. So I kind of threw that out there. And as I was talking about this, at certain times, and I didn't notice it at the time. I didn't notice it till later. And as people sent me some screenshots, or one person in particular sent me a screenshot of it. Like I said, I get a lot of emails, a lot of messages. People send me all kinds of stuff. They communicate with me about all kinds of different things. And they pointed something out. And I was like, I don't know if this means anything at all or not. I have no clue. All right? But I thought it was interesting. And I hadn't shared it publicly till now. I thought it was interesting. At times when I was making that video, it was summer, like I said, sun was out, and as often is the case, there's reflections, okay? Reflections that will be caught on video or what have you. And there were reflections on the ceiling above me because I was making the video in my car, and like I am now. And on the ceiling above me, there were reflections, sunlight reflections. But it appeared that some of them, at times, during portions of the video, people would have to go back and look at it themselves if they're interested. At times, it appeared that there were sunlight reflections in the shape of a cross. Like I said, at first, I didn't pay any attention. I didn't even notice it all. And then it was brought to my attention. And then people, like I said, one person actually took screenshots and sent it to me. I'm like, whoa. So I went back and I listened to the video. And I watched the reflections. And I said, when did the reflections, because that sometimes they were shaped of a cross and sometimes they weren't. And so, and I know people are going to mock me big time for this, but hey, I'm a big boy. I can take it. Do your worst there, pontificator of prophets. 99% wrong, or Spirit O' Man Exposed, channel or whatever else, and whoever else wants to make fun of me and mock me or whatever. I'm just telling you what I saw. You can look at it yourself. You think whatever you want to think. But I went back and I listened and I looked and I saw that on the ceiling, that when there were reflections that looked like they were in the shape of a cross, I was saying certain things at that particular time. And it was like the cross would kind of like, or the reflection of the cross, I should say. I'm not saying it was a cross. The shape of a cross would kind of go over my head at certain times of certain things I was saying during that video. Almost like there was an agreement or something there. It's very strange. And I don't know. And then it would kind of dissipate and then reform at certain times of the video. Not the whole video, but at certain times of the video. Like I agree with this, I don't agree with this kind of thing. It was kind of weird, And there was just like, and it was kind of right over my head. I'm like, okay, this is strange. Because I really believed, and I continue to believe, I know it's only a few days away, that somehow, some way, that something's going to happen in these next few days or hours, that we could get Harris, even if it's for an hour or two or whatever, for a short period of time. I don't know. Okay, it's just what I believe. Like I said, I'm apologizing in advance if I'm completely wrong about all this. Okay, it's just what I believe. And I do believe that there will be a constitutional crisis of some sort. I do believe that because of that, Trump will not get into office. There will not be an inauguration. And then all hell's going to break loose. That's what I believe. Now, if I'm totally wrong, like I said, that's why I'm apologizing in advance. Okay? But if I'm right, and you hear this video prior to that time, I know it's very long. I'm not going to apologize for that. I got a lot to say. And a long drive, like I said. People listen, don't listen, whatever. Then you knew. And you either prepared, you didn't prepare, you cared, you didn't care, but you knew. If you listen to this, if it's true, if it comes to pass. And I'll tell you why else I believe this. Because as usual, I'm minding my own business. I'm just doing my job, doing what I got to do. That's usually how it is. I mean, people would be amazed at how boring I am, really. I mean, if you saw how I really lived and how boring I am and how uneventful, my life is now in comparison to what it used to be. I mean, my life is pretty boring, because I keep it that way for a reason. I don't take a lot of risk or chances or whatever. I play things keep things pretty close to the chest kind of thing, play pretty close to the chest. I mean, you would be amazed at how simple my life is and how simple I live. I mean, you'd be like, man, this guy is a loser. It's like, yep. But I'm trying to keep my honor and integrity intact. And that's why I'm doing this now. I'm just coming out totally clean with everything. I'm telling you, this is what I believe. I also believe it because I get a phone call out of the clear blue. And it was the same person. I shared the email about it and everything, And they're telling me that they don't think he's getting in, man. And then I'm beginning to realize that this selection is not a day. It's a process. It's a process. And yeah, it's been certified in December and certified in January 6th and so forth. I get it. But it's a process. And it doesn't end until 12 noon on January 20th, Monday, January 20th. So that means anything up from now until 11:59 a.m. can stop this. On 11:59 a.m. on January 20th can stop this. It is not until that actual swearing in ceremony takes place that it's official. It's a process. And when I began to realize that it's a process and not a day or days or whatever, then it made a whole lot more sense to me with the other information that people were sharing, either in video format, email format, phone calls, whatever else. And I'm just like, whoa, man. Okay, so imagine, we've all heard the prophecies and we've all heard, or most of us probably, Dimitri Duduman and so forth or whatnot. And I know people, they've contacted me and I've heard it from others, it's not time for that yet. That's not going to happen yet. Okay, fine. That's fair enough. That's your opinion. Okay, you could totally be right about that. But what else would cause a civil war, internal revolution, people to start fighting against the government and on and on and on? What else would cause all that? Unless it's because people don't get the person in office that they're expecting to get in office. Or once the person is in office, he's removed somehow. Removed. We'll just put it like that. What else would cause that kind of internal revolution, civil war, civil chaos, civil unrest, civil destruction, people fighting against the government, all that stuff? Not in that order, but you get the point. What else would cause that? So it's either got to happen, unless somebody can think of something else. I can't, So it's either going to be no inauguration, or something happens, gets in, and then something happens in the process of the 4 years or what have you to cause that. See, So that's why I think the fiery kickoff event is real and still important and on the table, even all the way up to the inauguration, because it could happen. And the other things that people have contacted me about, or I've read or heard, or, some of it sounds not only legitimate and logical, but they've like really, when you say things like, the word of the Lord is no transition of power, Biden not around or unavailable, Obama to make the announcement. How do you go back on that? How do you go back on that? I don't understand how you go back on that. So either people are completely listening to false spirits, and totally deceived in every way, shape, and form, or they're on to something. Now, I do believe the ones that are constantly, like I said, Trump 24/7, XRP, what's the other garbage? I lose track. Wealth transfer and this and that. I do believe they're listening to false spirits. And here's the interesting thing is, do they get it right some of the time? Yeah, they do. But even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? Sometimes people, they just come up with so many different theories and I don't know, just so many different theories and predictions on this and that and everything else, that eventually you're bound to get something right sometime. But when you listen to their overall videos, if you can stomach it, and the things that they're saying, it really boils down to Trump 24/7, everything hinges on him, everything hinges about him, everything is all about him. XRP, wealth transfers, and those are pretty much the three main things. And just basically promoting themselves, selling stuff off their own channels or whatever. So anyway, I'm about to end this because I'm almost to work. Like I said, it's a long drive, man. So, but I just wanted to say in advance that I apologize. I'm sorry if I got it all wrong. And inauguration happens. Things continue on. But I tell you what, things will continue on regardless. But I'll tell you what, it's not like Hank Hill there. I'll tell you what. No, I'll tell you what. Regardless, I would not let my guard down. I really wouldn't. Sorry, I mean the waffle. But I wouldn't let my guard down because nothing's going to change. Matter of fact, I think if he does wind up getting in, this is my personal opinion, I think things will be exacerbated and probably sped up. That's my personal opinion on that. I don't think anything's going to change. One man can't change anything. He doesn't have the power to, doesn't have the authority to, and it doesn't change biblical prophecy. It doesn't change God's plan. It doesn't change anything. It's all according to his will, according to his plan. Has nothing to do with a man or a woman or a puppet or any leader or anything of that nature. It's all irrelevant. You're not going to convince anybody of that. Not even Christians. Forget it. It's not worth even trying. Trust me. I've tried. It doesn't. I'm so thankful you don't have to convince anybody of anything, because I would be a total, complete failure at that. We don't have to convince. We just have to inform, warn, if you feel led to do that. Mostly just, I would say, inform, tell people what could happen, could possibly happen, what they might want to be prepared for. But convincing, forget that. That's a waste of time, waste of effort. It's not, you might as well be talking to a wall about convincing. That's not our job anyway. That's the Holy Spirit's job. But you're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to get through to people. Only until it happens can you get through to people. It's just that simple. It has to happen first. Then you get through to people. But before that, you're just ignored. It's like, it's a waste of time. So, as they say, I guess we'll see what happens in these next few hours and days and go from there. But Anyway, that's all I got to say. That's all I got to say about that. I mean, that's all I got to say. It's out there. It is what it is. I've bared my soul, my heart, my mind, everything. People can mock, scoff, make videos, make channels about me, whatever. But I'm going to keep my honor and integrity intact. And that's why I'm telling you all now. I'm telling you all now before it happens. And or it doesn't happen, or whatever. And so not only have I informed you, but I've apologized in case I'm wrong. But if I do happen to be right, you knew in advance. You were told. I hope you're making the proper preparations. I hope you're doing everything you need to be doing. I said I would prefer sleep. But man, 12:12 I woke up. It's like, what the heck is this about? I didn't even have to go to the bathroom. I just woke up. Then it was like, I don't know, 3:56. I don't know what time it was. Something like, come on, man. That time I did have to go to the bathroom. But I didn't drink anything, so whatever. So I'm just like, come on, man. I need to sleep. But it is what it is. So I guess if I didn't sleep, I wouldn't have made this video. People are like, oh, you shouldn't have anyway. Yeah, maybe not. But it's out there. Okay, that's all I have. I'm done. Y'all have a great, blessed day. Take care. And if I don't talk to you again, it's been a pleasure, but I'm sure I probably will. I don't think they'll take YouTube down right away. They might take this channel down again. I don't know. But I know TikTok probably will go down, but I hear people might be going to some other platform, even owned by the Chinese. You know, if they can't have their TikTok, they're going to find something. So, I don't know, man. Anyway, that's it. I got to go. Y'all have a great and blessed day. And take care. Bye for now.